5 o'clock, so we need to get started. We're going to open the Rules and Legislative Committee. All of the members are present and accounted for. And John Carney, would you lead us in prayer?
Almighty God, we thank you for the chance to gather together to do the business of this community. We ask that the meeting would run smoothly and that people would express their viewpoints clearly and respectfully, and so that this might be a productive time in the service of the people of Bedford County. We ask all these things in your holy and almighty name. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, the first item is approval of the September 19th, 2023 Rules of Legislative Committee minutes.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Public comment period. Is there anyone here that wants to get on the agenda for public comment? Anybody that wants to? Okay, then being none, we'll go on to the next item. The second item is consideration of placing the October 10th, 2023 commission minutes on the November 14th, 2023 commission agenda.
Make a motion, we place those on the agenda without a recommendation.
Second.
There is a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The third item is consideration of placing the notary applicants on the November 14th, 2023 County Commission agenda as requested by County Clerk Donna Thomas.
Motion approved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, next is the Veterans Report. It was in our packet. I think there were 73 veterans that were transported to the VA hospitals and 77 veterans that came by the office in September. And Mike's here. Mike, you want to update anything or?
Well, it was the end of the PAC Act, and so, that was why we went to such a high number the month before for this number. That's probably gonna be about average, though, we've seen quite a few already.
Yes, sir. It looks like it's pretty much in the middle from the other months that we've got on the back. Is there any other questions or discussions? Okay, Commissioner Thomas? Yes, sir.
Yeah, Veterans Parade's gonna be at, on the 11th, November, starting at 11:11. But before that, just a caveat to that, we've also got the dedication, which will be across the street at the garden, for the Medal of Honor recipient. That'll be at 10 o'clock.
Okay.
It'll follow. Yes, and I'm gonna come over to the police department to try to get the street closed down a little.
Okay, see, any other questions concerning the veterans? Okay, good. Okay, is motion to approve?
So moved.
Move. Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, the next one is for our information only, the community clinic. They're continuing to stay busy. I think the medical end saw 135 patients, and the dental parts, they saw 85 in September, so they're staying very busy as well. Any other comments or questions concerning the community clinic report?
I want to say on all the reports, I shared a lot of the reports we got from the directors and the elected officials both on my social media today, because everybody does such a good job on their reports and keeping everybody informed. So, I wish the public could see all the information that we get, that everybody keeps up with.
Okay.
They do a good job.
They certainly do. Any other questions or discussion? Yes, sir.
Oh, okay.
That's helpful as well. Yes, sir. Any other comments or discussion? Okay, the next is Ag Center report. Commissioner Anderson, did y'all meet last night?
Do what?
Do y'all meet?
Yes.
Y'all meet usually the day before we meet, don't you?
Usually, but we met the week before.
Okay, well, you can bring us
Because
up to
it's
date
about
on it.
the way that the calendar works out. We're
Yeah.
the second. It's just how it worked out. We met last Monday.
Okay, you can bring us up to date on that?
The biggest issue we got, and I don't want to get into too many details, I'm working with the mayor and Robert. We're gonna have a tractor out there. We're working on getting it. I don't want to tell too much about how I'm doing it right now, because if they see we're interested in something, the price goes way up. So I'm gonna handle it another way, hopefully. I'm gonna work closely with the mayor and Robert. We're gonna find us a tractor. It may take a little bit of time, but it is a dangerous situation here, because basically the PTO will not disengage. So once it's starting, and we can't get the parts, and we're just going to have no tractor. So we're going to work together. We're going to come up with something. It's not going to be new, but it's going to be nice. And I just don't want to say too much, because if they think the county's interested in something, you all know what that means. So there's more ways to do it than.
Any questions for Commissioner Anderson? Any commissioners have any questions concerning the Ag Center report? Okay, we'll go to the next, was Joint Homeless Task Force met as well, and, okay, Commissioner Hooker? Yes, sir, yes, sir, you'll need to come to the.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We did meet. Unfortunately, there were several events going on at the same time as our meeting, and so we didn't have but about 5 or 6 of our members there. And so, but we did have about 40 members of the public, and I thought that was very great to have their involvement. And so we took the advantage of that to be able to give them the entire time to speak. And we kind of just went around the room. We had business owners, we had residences, we had different social groups, we had different nonprofits. It was just a great time to be able to gain some insight into what's going on in the community. You know, I think the consensus is we are seeing an uptick in the amount of homeless that we're seeing. And so we're just continuing to talk through some things. The school system is heavily involved in this group, and so they bring, Ms. Wiley brought some great points. Some great information from the school system. I think it's just important that we continue to keep the conversation going. And so we did meet, and then we plan to meet again next month, right before the commission meeting. I do invite anybody to come because it's great insight to be able to see what's going on in our community. And then, you know, again, with those nonprofit groups and those type things that are heavily involved, to be able to get their insight as well. I think it's been a productive process. We're just continuing to push through and continuing to make recommendations.
Any questions?
Do you see a report coming out of this? How do you envision bringing this to the commission?
Yeah, I think up to this point, we've continued to bring minutes and bring information, but I do think that on down the line, I think once we get more of established and more information, I think that a report can come. Right now, we're working with a couple nonprofit groups as well as the community clinic to be able to start identifying some of this, start to get some hard numbers and data. And I think that's really right now, it's hard to report because we just don't have the metrics or we don't have the resources to do that. We do have some plans in place to be able to assist some of those groups. I know that the community clinic as well as other groups have got our kind of central hub started at the down at the old medical arts building there by finance. That is kind of started and up and running, and so they're already starting to see those. The first step was women and children because that was the easiest, fastest route to be able to access. Now we're working with another group to be able to come in to start working with individuals and veterans and things like that to be able to try to help them get to the right resources. And I think that's the long-term goal. I think that the least amount of government involvement in this moving forward is the ideal, and being able to try to help these nonprofit groups get together. And I think that's what our plan is to continue to work with this central hub group and try to be able to get these connected. So. You give with operations. What is that? Just. Yeah, so again, I would refer you to that central hub group. We have not discussed it in the homeless task force, and so I think that might be something that we can definitely bring up. We've kind of relied on them to be the kind of front line of that, and we're just continuing to discuss. Our initial focus was the hostile individuals that kind of focused, and that was our recommendation in the spring. And then now we're kind of working with those other groups as well.
Any other questions? Yeah, well, thank you. I've got a
Thank you.
couple comments as well. I serve on the committee with Commissioner Hooker, and the Tennessee Voices, what was that concern? I can't remember, I wrote that down in my notes. I can't remember. Is that part of the Family and Children's Services? Who mentioned that? Was that Elonda Marble?
Yeah, they're a
It's-
secondary group with, it's gonna be tied with Yolanda down at the
Okay.
building. That's kind of that next step.
Okay, good, because we're getting Family and Children's Services involved as well. So that's a third leg of the stool. And then Toby Sneed came in and provided some information that Rutherford County was doing, and I thought was very insightful, that they do a pit count, which is point in time, to try to recognize all their homeless there in that county and figure out who is who. And then, as we said, our focus, as you mentioned several times, is Hub. And it is, as we just mentioned, in the Medical Arts Building. And then and it's interesting to see there are three groups of these homeless. You got situational, that can vary from, month to month. Then you got generational, which it seems like their families and the children and grandparents might have all been homeless, or generational. And then you got the hostile individuals, which are, most of our business people are concerned with those. Because I know Thomas Landers spoke out, and it seems like he said that they're the ones that he has there at Landers Tires early in the morning tend to be more in that group. And he was a little concerned about that as well. But then to get the, central office and the school system with Miss Wiley, I mean, that's big, because they've got all this information coming from the schools that they gather. So I really think you've done a great job of bringing all these groups together, and I think we're certainly going in the right direction. And like you said, once we can pass this off, I don't know which one of those are going to be, the main, hub of activity, but one of them will carry on.
It's not gonna be a fast process, it's definitely a marathon, but we're gonna take it a step at a time and continue to address it.
Well, it's been a valuable service, and just opening those meetings up and bringing these people in and where they've got voices, because many of the other people in the community were concerned about, arresting these homeless people with them not knowing what they're doing or not knowing the law and this and that. So, and then others concerned about building shelters and, build them and they'll come. And they're afraid that might generate too many people here. But there was a lot of comments, and if you haven't been to one of those meetings, I would advise you to try to come, because it's a diverse group of people, and they're all getting input, and they all have a right to speak. But thank you, Commissioner Hooker, you're doing a great job with that. Any other questions or comments? Okay, bylaws update, Commissioner Yaki.
I put before you, bylaw rule 1, just one. There are 9 bylaws, and I don't want to get tarred and feathered and give you all 9 of them all at once. So my goal is, in November's meeting, we look at rule 1. December meeting, I think it's 2, 3, and 4. And then in January, the rest of them, the latter ones, are real short. And so hopefully by spring, then after you all bless all the rules, send it to the county commission. So I'm not asking to send it one by one by one by one, because there may be something that needs to be changed across all 9 of them. Just as a reminder, how I'm doing this, I met with Ginger on the things that I'd made notes on. My county mayor had told me some things. She had some things she wanted to change. And so after I met with her, then I went through the rules and changed whatever needed to be changed. So I'd like to do it like last time. Then you all tell me what needs to be changed or modified or whatever you want to do with it. And then I'll go back to Ginger, and then she cleans it up and tells us what we got to do. So,
Thank you for working with Ginger so closely.
May I ask one question, Commissioner? In our bylaws, there is the clause that allows 2 members to bring a resolution to the floor. Is that addressed here in bylaw rule one? I don't know if we've got.
No, I think
Okay.
it's another, it's in one of the
Okay.
other ones.
Okay.
CTAS, just telling you what I hear rumblings and been told, CTAS doesn't think that's a good idea. But John T's mixed on it. He understands what they're saying. Personally, I think we ought to keep it because of just emergencies that come up. And I'm not sure county mayor's flavor on it, but I'm sure at some point in time we can do it. But it's in another section. I don't remember which one. So.
Any other questions or discussion? Yes, sir, absolutely.
I'm indifferent about it as well, but CTAS does say it doesn't smell right, maybe is a nice way to say it. They have some concern about two or more, say no more, under sunshine and those things. But I feel like that if you do want to go a different route, and I don't really know that I have anything to recommend at the moment, but there needs to be some mechanism. Otherwise, you would be stuck in, if I'm understanding what we currently have in place, you'd be stuck for something to be moved from a committee, or else it would just die and never could get to the rest of the commission for consideration unless you were suspending the rules on the floor. Now, that's separate from suspending rules on the floor, and that is sacred ground, and I agree with that really should be those just very unusual, just like when we had the attorney-client and needed to do it. Something like that is unique, but otherwise, a committee could bury it and it never get to another committee or up to the commission floor if you don't have some other mechanism. Now, I don't think it should be used as a mechanism to circumvent committee, but every now and then you may have a situation where something needs to move on and it's gotten stalled for political reasons, and it would be stuck if there wasn't such a mechanism of some kind. So that's really all I'm trying to articulate to you, is maybe two is not correct, but I don't think it would be correct to take totally that out without some mechanism for you to move something along if it got buried, because we've seen politically through the years, every now and then something will take wild and get buried, and at least gives us safety valve.
Or something unforeseen comes up that we didn't know, and we can't afford
Right,
to
and
wait a
then,
month.
right,
We've
and now
seen
we're at
that
the
happen.
last minute, and if
We've
you
seen
didn't,
it.
if you didn't do that, then you
Right.
got,
You gotta
right,
move.
then you'd be looking at having to suspend the
Right.
rules, which again, we talk about is really sacred ground.
Right.
So you need, I think some form of that mechanism
We
has
need
got to
something.
exist. Yeah.
Well, and I
Okay.
can understand with the sunshine rule, if 6 or 8 of us got together and had a meeting in there, that's a total violation. But if I have something that has to come out, I go to Commissioner Anderson, can you work with this, second this if it comes up? Are we really discussing?
But I think
business?
that's where county attorney has a little different flavor. We think that that maybe CTAS is interpreting from the most strict possibility, and again, without violating or doing something that would not be proper. I think he feels like, at least in our conversations, just because two commissioners would agree that something was important enough to go before the body doesn't mean that they
Right.
have actually made a decision,
We
and they're
couldn't.
trying to
Two
do
people
what they're
can't
just
make a
simply.
decision.
So I do think there's room for us to find something, and it
Right.
may be just like it is, or it may be under that with a little bit different flavor of how it's.
But we're gonna talk about that
Later.
in the
Yeah,
future.
that'll come
So
up in
as
that
part of
next
our
in the
conversation,
whatever
we'll get to that.
section
Yeah.
it's already in.
Perfect. That's okay. Thank you for the job you're doing on this.
Yeah, very good work.
Excellent.
Any other questions? Yes, sir. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you need your microphone, if you don't mind.
So just a couple quick, when will all of this be socialized with the rest of the commission? I know we're socializing here with this committee, but when will it be socialized with the rest of the body for us to take a look at the bylaw changes?
I assume after the January meeting, that's what she just said.
What's she saying?
In your packet, next month's rules and legislative packet, you'll get what they got tonight. But the reason I just did them is because they may call me and tell me ahead and stuff and save us some time, to give them a month to look it over. And then they'll make the changes. Ginger will fix it, and then I can send, I guess we probably need to send out. Yeah, we can send out when she gets it corrected before we have it. I really don't want to go rule 1 by rule 2, but separate on the county commission, because just like with what Greg said, we might want to change and put one and back into another rule And that's one of the things that's been wrong with the bylaws. There's been one here in this section, Rule 1, that really needed to be over in Rule 3. And anyway, that's part of the cleanup. So they've got it to look over this month, and then next month, pick it apart. You all will have had it in your packet when Suzanne runs off those packets that we get at the commission.
One more question.
Absolutely.
Fully capable, Ms. Schaffner, but why is Ms. Schaffner the one looking at this instead of John T? Just a question.
She is the one who does all the city stuff. She's the one I've always gone to relative to these bylaw changes. She does the planning commission bylaws, and I guess that's kind of her expertise-ness.
Right. Historically, she's done the administrative law things, not that John T. is not versed in that area, but typically with his,
He's read everything.
yeah, with his workload, typically it takes longer to get something handled than with her. But if the body would wish for it to be done solely by him, we wouldn't, I wouldn't take exception to that. I'd be happy to say, hey, we don't, but it may very well be delayed. Typically, she can turn something around quicker, and she's very good in detailed administrative law processes. Right. So that's, and she manages the planning commission challenges. Again, that administrative law stuff is something that has been her expertise. So that's really the only, that was before ever I was even the mayor, by the way. I mean, it's not decisions made after I was here.
email Ginger, I always pass on.
One-
Yes, sir.
One question.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
if the committee looks at this, do we need to get our changes to you in the next week or 2 weeks so that you can have everything for next month? Because, okay.
Unless you just see, like I know I've got something twice.
This is our draft, this is working draft right here. And that's,
Yes, sir.
I'd encourage you to, just to keep the honest, and the appearance of concern, send it to the mayor's office and
Okay.
then let us,
Okay.
and that way you have that middle part, and then we'll distribute it out to everybody, but that'll stop anybody saying that you got individuals deciding something. We'll be
Agreed.
clearing house for you, if you wish. And that's even better, but if you have a document or something you want it put back through the system, we will do that.
All right.
Any other discussion or questions? Okay, I know we wrote some letters to that middle mile grant. How did that,
we
work?
submitted.
Do we know anything about
We
it?
submitted, the deadline was yesterday. We got, thank you for all the commissioners that submitted letters, and we ended up with, I think, 38 or 39 letters. They asked us for 20. The deadline was yesterday. We had all the supporting instruments in place. I talked to the president of United today and the CFO. They know everything's in place. It's going to be a quick turnaround. By January, we should know. And that gets us in preparation now for the huge grant, which is coming out, which is the BEAD grant, which is going to be $900 million. But what's important is, because we've already gotten 2 grants, this third grant process will allow us to build this backbone so that when everyone comes scrambling for the $900 million and they need $60 and $70 million, we won't need that much to get us totally covered because we've gotten the 3 intervenings that have put together the backbone, so we're filling in with it. So we'll get our amount that we need, but we won't have to ask for $50 million. It may be something like 20, and which would be more palatable for them to award. So I thank you, Mayor, for all the work you've done, and our committee, the school system, John Teague at the Ag Center, Tracy Strassner, so many people have helped on this, and we've been consistently, and Commissioner Boutwell has been there, and and Commissioner Pinson. So thank you for asking, and I'm really excited about this opportunity. It's going to help a lot of people for Bedford County. Thank you.
All right, any announcements? Okay, Commissioner Anderson?
All right, it's Friday night's it, Central High School fish fry. All right, $15 a ticket. I want to commend those parents, the coaching staff, and the players. We had 750 tickets printed off. We got 80 left over. I'm fixing to give the coach drive at 6 o'clock. That doesn't mean you can't still come if you don't have a ticket. 5 o'clock, Central High School cafeteria. If it rains, we're good. We're undercover. We're me, Randy Clanton, Billy Beach, and Caleb Doak cooking. We're gonna have fish, hush puppies, white beans. We haven't had something like this at Central High School in years, y'all. It's been years. And this is a big football game against Lincoln County. The next week, if things go well, we're playing Tullahoma for a region championship on a Thursday night out there. You got things going out there right now. And this is gonna be a good time, a big night, and I encourage everybody to come out and support these kids. And watching what they're doing in the community has impressed me. They're going to the elementary schools. Cascade, I know, does the same thing. They do a fine job, so does community, but they're going out here and helping kids, and I really like the direction of where we're going here. Football team, and then we got some homemade desserts the parents are doing. That's going to go to the junior class. So it's a general fundraiser. Right, exactly. So the parent involvement, and I did it out at Cascade for 4 or 5 years, and man, at Cascade, you got 50, 60 parents. Central, I tried to do something, I couldn't get any help. Now, I got 35, 40 parents. There's help out there right now. It's just really nice to see where we're going with that. And I encourage everybody to come out. And I have tickets at the office. If anybody wants any Shovel Animal Hospital, you can come by, and I'll have a few left. But I'm going to give Coach Dryden the rest of them. There's to-go plates, too. If you don't want to come out there, hand them $15, take a go plate and go. Especially if it might be raining, but I think we're going to be okay on the rain. But I encourage everybody to come out. Central High School, 5 o'clock, games at 7. We start eating at 5.
That's it, Friday.
Yes, sir. Lincoln County,
Okay. What's their record this year?
7-1.
I didn't think that.
We've not lost since the first game.
That's it. I thought they lost the first game and that they won the rest of it. Well, that winning will cure a lot of other ailments.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, sir. It sure does. Okay, any other questions about that, about the fish fry at Central? Any other announcements? I got one. Of course, the Shovel Bedford Partnership Annual Meeting is gonna be the 7th of November. It's coming up, but I didn't see a time. County Mayor, do you know? I think it's that Tuesday on the 7th, but I'm not. Do you know what time it is and where it is? I don't think it was in the email, was it?
I've got it at 6:30, but I think that's a little bit fluid, maybe 30 minutes one way or the other. I think what came out was saying the date was more important than the time.
Right.
Probably
Okay.
Somewhere in that range.
Around 6,
It's
6:30?
6:30.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think that
Okay.
there may be another one.
Yeah, and
I asked about that.
And where?
It's going to be at the Humble Bear.
Okay.
It's the annual meeting.
6:30 on Tuesday, November the 7th,
Yes.
at the Humble Baron at nearest Green Distillery.
That's what I thought was the last, but when the initial thing went out, it would just say the date, not necessarily the time. So that's why.
Well, you live too far out in the country, Commissioner Yockey. Is there any other
I don't know
announcements?
if I got it.
Move to adjourn, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, so moved.
All right, good.